Now, a couple of more changes that the developers have made but didn't tell us. In fact, the update log still isn't perfectly correct. So, I'm going to talk about one point here. They claim to fix unit damage and kills not contributing to mission progression. However, Mentin, the wiki editor, the main wiki editor, tested this out, and this is not the case, actually. So, it turns out it's only explosion damage that contributes to that. You know, a 4 million, yes, you know what, I'll start that. So, this means that any collision damage, so when the unit collides with enemies, that doesn't count towards the quests, nor does it count towards any kills. And any range damage, so that's nothing from explosions, but something like, I don't know, the gun damage from the unit's crook boss, that doesn't count either. Now, this doesn't count towards enemy kills for the logbooks, like 20 progression kills for that doesn't count. Don't worry about that. But it only applies to quests, namely these quests here, like the damage dealt quests here. It only applies to those. Now, a change that has been made to the Slayer Shotgunner quest, the Back from Infernal quest, that people haven't realised. So, I don't know why people still say that this quest is broken. No, they've actually made it easier. So, be thankful to the developers that they've made it easier. So, firstly, the second quest is no longer defeat the Molten Boss 3 times with the Shotgunner landing the final shot. It is now the Molten Warlord. So, it is easier because you don't need to go into hardcore mode and then get that through that. And, this means that this quest is more accessible to those that are under the level 50, because obviously you can't go into hardcore mode unless you have over level 50. I mean, you still do need level 15 for the new Molten mode, but it is a hell of a lot easier to get than level 50. Additionally, for the third objective, it's no longer Triumph Infernal Abyss on Fallen mode with the Shotgunner twice. It is now Triumph Infernal Abyss on Molten mode with the Shotgunner twice. I think this makes more sense for the name, Back from Infernal. The fact that this is a Doom skin, the Shotgunner Slayer skin is a Doom skin. Fallen mode was only there to make it more, I guess, hard for players to do, but they have fixed it. So yeah, it now means that it is easier to get the Slayer Shotgunner. Additionally, when I said duplicate logbooks were fixed, I was wrong. They aren't fixed. Now, the logbooks still drop after the 20th is collected, so if you kill 20 enemies, you now get the logbook dropped. However, after this, there is still a chance to get the logbook if you kill that enemy again through the regular luck-based system. So, yeah, it actually is more likely that you'll get a duplicate logbook from bosses because they have a 5% chance of dropping than it is from normal enemies because they have a 0. Whatever chance of dropping. And like I said, the Health Cultist is still the rarest logbook, theoretically. There may be others that are rarer in terms of actual numbers because hardcore mode, I don't know how many people, actually, I think a lot of people don't play hardcore mode because the numbers suggest that more people play survival mode than hardcore mode. But I would imagine getting a duplicate Health Cultist logbook is extremely rare. Oh, and in the case of the Scarecrow Pyromancer, you can see that it still drops the thing, as you can see. The backpack drops. Now, something that has been noted is if an enemy has the flying attribute, then they can't be damaged by the Pyromancer nor the Chiromancer, even if they have flying detection from the Firework Technician. So if we were to spawn in something like the Armored, so yeah, as you can see here, it's being targeted by the Chiromancer here, but it's not dealing any damage towards it, as you can see here. So that's weird. Well, I mean, because it has flying detection here, so flying, and it should be able to damage the Boomer, but it doesn't. Meanwhile, if we get the Pyromancer, as you can see here, it also is not damaging the Boomer. So yeah, as you can see here, it has flying attribute and it's being targeted by the Pyromancer, but it's not dealing any damage towards it. But if we get the Abomination, I mean, it's still the same. That's odd, you may say. So get the Amalgamation out, and as you can see, not being damaged at all. It can be damaged by the fireworks, obviously, but yeah, it's a flying enemy. Technically, I mean, no, it's obviously not flying, but you can see it's being targeted by the Chiromancer and the Pyromancer, but it's not being dealt any damage. Now, the other thing that I wanted to note is so for example, the balloon, so that can have flying detection, right? But then if it's destroyed, oh, sniper, be better, please, come on, please. So balloon, get the sniper to target the last enemy, so target that. Oh, it kills it instantly. The Pyromancer, yeah, actually the Pyromancer is able to target the balloon. Okay, so it's only when it has the flying attribute that it can't target it. I don't think this is a bug. I mean it is part of the game's code, I guess, but yeah, fair enough. In regards to the Pyromancer, it used to be able to hit flying enemies with its hitbox through its fire thing. Its hitbox was big enough to actually hit flying enemies. But for some reason, the developers have decided to code it so the fact that the Pyromancer can no longer hit these flying enemies for some reason. And they've applied the same thing for the Pyromancer, even though I don't think that was added when it was first added, but I don't know. But they are able to attack enemies that are high up. So, for example, you can see here, the Pyromancer is dealing damage towards the frost beacons here. So, and the Pyromancer is able to do that. So they can look up. It's evidently just the fact that because of the flying attribute, for some reason, they are unable to damage enemies with those things. Additionally, against lead attributed enemies, so for example the lead here, the Electroshocker is not the only tower that's no longer effective against these enemies. It's actually the case that the Warden, Sledger, and Frost Blaster can no longer deal damage towards these lead enemies anymore. I don't know why they've done this. It's probably a change in attributes for some reason, something to do with damage changing, but that does mean that the Sledger can no longer deal damage to lead. I wonder if that's have anything to do with the fact that its max hits was meant to be fixed, but instead it was changed so that lead is no longer effective against it. I have no idea, because the Warden is a single target enemy as well, so I don't know. I don't think it will have to do anything with the max hits, but yeah, fair. Meanwhile, I'll report on this later, but the Legion map, the Legion challenge, sorry, that no longer can have Candy Valley, because I don't know why. I think Candy Valley only appeared once for it anyway, yeah. Only once, at the start, very start. Why the developers decided to remove Candy Valley from Legion, I don't know. I also reported on the Dark Frost skin that having collisions with its units. It's the case where in this update, only one of them was fixed. It was only the Minigunner Sentry that was fixed for that. However, the War Machine Sentry, that wasn't fixed for some reason. Why the developers decided to go for only the Minigunner Sentry and not the War Machine Sentry, I don't know. Meanwhile, I don't think I did mention this, but the Infinite Towers option back on the 20th of December was fixed. So you can now have infinite towers. They're no longer limited by the 40 tower limit, nor the placement limit that each individual tower may have. For example, the DJ booth can only be placed down once, except when you disable the infinite tower option. Furthermore, you may know this, or you may not know this actually, probably most people don't know this, the Frost Spirit actually has a spawning animation, but it doesn't play properly for some reason. Additionally, there are some bugs with the Operation Ice map where the siege engines, they can be angled like this, and angled like this, and then, actually, that's upside down. But then there's also a bug with the bridge where you can actually move it and collide with it for some reason. So, yeah, you're able to change the environment of Frost Invasion. I don't think this has anything to do with the siege engine being killed or anything. This was previous anyway. People have suggested that this is a way to kill the siege engine. I don't think it is. Like, glitching out and then appearing it so it appears into the void and then kills itself. I mean, is that really a way of getting the logbook? I don't think the developers would have done that. Finally, the last glitch with sandbox mode is if you have the admin mode game pass, towers that you have selected but you do not own cannot be placed down, even though it should be the case where all non-event towers that are available in admin mode, even if the player does not own them, you should be able to place it down. But yeah, it's just so you can select the towers so they appear, but you just can't place them down. Additionally, with the packed ice, there was an issue where the packed ice creates mystery death particles on its death, but it no longer does that. But it is smaller than intended, and for some reason, it doesn't have any health in sandbox mode, causing it to break.